Zoe TV.
Drums rolled. Lights twinkled. A red and gold tent rose like a giant crown at the edge of the fairground. Zoe stepped under the striped entrance, eyes wide. The air smelled like popcorn, sweet candy, and a little bit of sawdust. A bell rang, and the show began. Inside, the big top glowed with soft golden light.
Wow!
The ring was a circle of smooth sand. Ropes hung high in the air like silver lines to the stars. Flags fluttered. A band in bright jackets played a happy tune, while the audience clapped. A tall ringmaster in a black coat and shiny top hat swept into the ring. He held a red ribbon stick and pointed to the sky. A spotlight clicked on. High above, two trapeze swings rocked gently. Acrobats in sparkling suits flew through the air. One leaped, whoosh, hands catching wrists, feet catching feet. They spun and smiled, landing safely on a soft net. The crowd gasped, then cheered. Zoe's heart bounced with the drums. Clowns tumbled in, shoes squeaking. One had a tiny hat that kept falling off. Another rode a unicycle and pretended to wobble, but never really did. A clown pulled a very long scarf from his sleeve, longer, 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 until it made a colorful snake across the sand. Zoe giggled as they bowed and tripped and bowed again. The lights dimmed to a deep blue. A ring of small torches flickered like stars on the ground. A dancer stepped into the ring holding two glowing ribbons. She spun them in slow circles. Then came fire. Careful hands tossed fire batons, up, around, catch, smooth and sure. A soft hush fell over the tent. The flames made warm halos on the dancers' cheeks. When the last flame went out with a little kiss of smoke, the tent filled with gentle claps, then big cheers. The tightrope walker climbed a small ladder and stood on a wire high above the ring. She carried a long balance pole. Her feet found the wire like it was a thin path across a pond. She turned slowly in the middle, bent one knee, and, oh, stood on one foot. The crowd held its breath. She smiled and finished with a brave, tiny jump to the platform. The band burst into a happy song again. Down below, two strong performers rolled in a barrel the size of a table. They lifted it as if it were light as a balloon. One raised a shiny barbell. His arms trembled a little, then steadied. He set it down with careful control, like placing a sleeping cat. The lesson was quiet and clear. Strength is careful, not rough. A pair of ribbon silks dropped from the roof like twin waterfalls. Two acrobats wrapped themselves in the fabric and climbed. They spun into spirals and floated down, the silks blooming like flower petals. They stopped a breath above the sand and slipped softly to their feet. Zoe's fingers curled on the edge of his seat, then relaxed when they landed. The band switched to a playful tune. A seal-shaped puppet on wheels balanced a ball on its nose and rolled past, wagging a felt tail, making the little ones in the crowd laugh and clap.
Beautiful!
A magician followed, tipping a striped hat. He reached in and pulled out colored scarves, a paper bouquet, and then, pop, a small paper dove that fluttered on a thread. He bowed and tipped the hat again. Confetti flew out like tiny stars.
That is unbelievable!
Outside the ring, carts rattled by with treats. Popcorn popped and jumped in a silver drum. Cotton candy spun into pink clouds that looked like tiny sunsets. A lemonade stand poured yellow rivers into cups with big straws. Zoe licked a dot of sugar from his thumb and turned back to the ring. The ringmaster lifted his ribbon stick and pointed to a small door. A miniature car rolled in, so small it looked like a toy.
Look at that!
One clown got out. Then another. Then another and another, until the sand was full of clowns waving little flags. They lined up and made a silly parade, stepping high, knees up, knees down, hats bobbing like birds. Then came a quiet act. A mime in white gloves and a striped shirt walked into the ring with an imaginary box. He pushed. He pulled. He leaned on nothing and sat on air. He pretended to climb an invisible ladder and peeked at the top of a pretend wall. The tent filled with smiles. A spotlight moved to a round hoop set high. A hoop artist spun it around her arm, then her waist, then 3 hoops, then 5, all glittering. The hoops climbed to her shoulders and slid down again, never falling. She made them move like rings around a tiny planet. The band grew soft again. A sand artist rolled in a glass table with a light underneath. On a big screen above the ring, the sand became pictures under the artist's moving hands. First a circus tent, then a moon, then a laughing clown face that turned into a starry night. The drawings flowed from one to the next like a dream. Zoe felt his eyes shine. Art could be made from anything, even tiny grains of sand.
See you tomorrow!